Hey everyone, it's Smita. Today we're going to be talking all about grayscale lip products, and specifically ones that have come out over the past half year to 3/4 of a year. I have a series of videos on my channel where I try on gray glosses and black glosses, and I wanted to do an updated video where I tried on a bunch of the products that have come out kind of since I made those videos. And I do feel like this category is sort of having a moment now. So I think this video will probably be of help to you if you gravitate toward that style of lip product, if you like alt beauty lover lip products. But also if you've been curious about trying one of these, I think this video will be helpful, or one of the others that I have on my page. Let's go ahead and get into it. And I also want to mention that on my eyes and face, I have the most recent collab palette that was done with Beaute Bar and Freya. All right, so the first product we have is from Rituel de Fille. This is their Light as a Feather lipsticks, specifically in the shade Black Lotus. This is not a new shade, but it is a brand new formula. And these are truly the lightest weight lipsticks that I've ever tried. Very, very interesting formula, and I have a feeling that these are going to be entering the permanent lineup, and I'm so happy about this because I think these are truly their best formula to date, their best lip formula to date. I feel like these are especially good if you are someone who is sensitive to the way that lip products feel on your lips. You will forget that you have anything on when you wear these. They have a buildable pigmentation. I think if you compare these to the Enchanted Lip Sheers, those are buildable as well, but I feel like these are a little bit more pigmented. They have a beautiful wear time, and it does feel like they leave a little bit of a stain on the lips. I also don't find them drying whatsoever. I find Black Lotus to be somewhat of what I would describe to be a kind of gray leaning black shade. All right, the next shade we have is a recent gloss that was done in collaboration with Terra Moons and Ellie Star. This is called Moonshadow, and I like to think of this one as an extremely sheer black gloss. So I would liken it a little bit to Seen Black from Fui, which is a shade that kind of goes in and out of stock. I feel like this type of shade is particularly useful because you can wear it over top of another lip product to just kind of deepen it up a little bit, or just wear it all on its own. I am happy to see in general that Terra Moons is doing cool lip products because I quite enjoy their gloss formula. All right, the next shade we have is called The Void, and this is a medium opacity black gloss. It has just the tiniest amount of kind of micro sparkle in it, just gives it a little bit of extra dimension. By the way, this shade is also a collab shade. It was done with Not Another Hannah, who really loves a black gloss and alt beauty shades in general. And also, I've talked quite a bit about the glosses from Mob Beauty, because this formula is incredibly comfortable. It's very quickly become one of my absolute favorite gloss formulas, so I love to see that they are adding more shades to the range. This is another one where I feel like you can wear it all on its own. I feel like it's just a perfect medium opacity black gloss. And you could totally pair this with a lip liner, but I feel like you don't need to. And the next shade we have is this Black Balm from Hyru. This is another brand that I've talked about several times on my channel. At this point, they only have these balms, but I know that they are working on some other lip products down the line. These are a sparkly black balm that has a buildable opacity. Void in particular is kind of like a gray black with red leaning sparkles. And I find this one to be incredibly wearable. But because it has that sparkle in it, you can kind of wear it for an amped up, more interesting lip. I've simply been telling everybody I know about these lip balms because I have enjoyed them that much. They're very comfortable. You can't feel the sparkle in them whatsoever. And I like to think of them as a sort of goth take on a 90s frost. All right, we have something that is a little bit more mainstream. We don't have very many mainstream brands in this video, but this is one of the new shades from Laneige, and this is called Black Plum Glaze. I would actually describe this as more of a blackened purple, but I did want to include it in this video because I do think it's a nice lip product. I don't love the applicator. It has like the squishy applicator. I thought I might at first, but I find it to be a little bit messier than I would like, hard to control. But otherwise, I think this is a really cool product. It's sheer, it's buildable, and it has a really pretty kind of blue-purple sparkle throughout. All right, and the next product we have is from Dyvaroon. This is from their most recent Silver and Cold collection. They dropped some really fun glosses and lip products, and this is the shade Bitter. It's a sparkly black gloss, has kind of a medium opacity. Dyvaroon has really been doing it when it comes to fun lip products. The shade has quite a bit of silver sparkle in it, but it feels incredibly smooth on the lips. I don't feel that sparkle when I wear this shade. All right, next we have this sparkly lip balm from Bella Beaute Bar, and this is called Dark Matter. Now, Bella Beaute Bar has quite a few of these sparkly lip balms. They've been padding out this range. I would describe these as having a medium opacity that is buildable. They have a kind of micro sparkle throughout. I find them to be quite comfortable, but I will say I am aware of the feeling of the sparkle in these, so I just want to mention it. You can see, you can wear them just kind of as kind of like a light wash of pigment, and you can build them up. And this shade is kind of what I would describe as a green black, and it has green and red sparkle. And the next shade I have is from a brand called Hintor. Hintor is a really cool Chinese beauty brand that I've discovered within the past year or so, and they have an absolutely lovely gloss formula, and beyond that, they have some very cool shades. And I don't think I've talked about this in a previous video. If I have, you're hearing about it again because these are really nice. They have a medium to full opacity. This is the shade 94. It is a gray kind of with some taupe in there. This is a really cool shade. On me, I think ultimately I would pair it with a lip liner. But I do feel like the taupe in it makes it a bit more wearable on my skin tone. Some grays can obviously look really stark. And these don't feel sticky whatsoever. I would say these are an incredibly comfortable formula. I am going to add just a little bit of lip liner to show you what that would look like. This is Coffee A from Izumaya. And here is that Hintor gloss with lip liner. I do think I prefer it with some definition. All right, next we have the shade Flux from Bella Beaute Bar and Freya. I really like this gloss. This has what I would say is a medium opacity that's buildable. And I really like that it has kind of a blue undertone in there. I also feel like you get a good amount of depth with this one. I do think, again, this one looks better with a lip liner. You can still see I have some lip liner on from before. You have some sparkle in this gloss, but it's pretty subtle. I feel like it's just the right amount. And here is what the shade Flux looks like applied. All right, next I have a couple of shades from Cloudicos. This is their gray gloss that came out toward the end of last year. So happy to see Cloudicos back with a fun collection. This is the shade Stranger. It's an incredibly pigmented gray gloss. I do have a whole video where I try on all of the shades in case you're curious. I will link it in the cards. This formula glides right on. Now this is the kind of shade that looks very stark on my skin tone. So I'm going to add some lip liner. They actually came out with some really cool lip liners. This is the shade Merlot. And here's what the shade Stranger looks like with a generous amount of Merlot. This is the way that I think this type of shade looks the best on me, where it's just kind of focused more in the center of the lip. All right, the next shade we have is called Geek Out. I think I like this one even more than Stranger on me. I know it looks like a purple, but I think that this is a sort of gray leaning purple. And this shade I find to be a little bit more wearable on me. Here is what Geek Out looks like applied. This is also one of my favorite shades that was part of this launch in general. All right, and the next shade we have is a Lip Mud. This was also in collaboration with Freya and Bella Beaute Bar, and this is called Undivided. So let me show you what it looks like swatched. This is another one where I definitely have to keep it focused on the center of my lip. So I think what I want to do is play around with a lip combo for this one. I'm just curious to see. I'm going to take this very rich brown lipstick Bare Maximal and put that on first. And you can see that this shade definitely has some warmth to it. And what I'm going to do is just put a little bit of Undivided in the center of the lip. Okay, that was more gray than I was intending, so I'm going to go back in with a little bit more Bare Maximal. All right, I ended up really liking how the shade turned out. It wasn't what I expected, but basically this is a mixture of the Lip Mud Undivided with Bare Maximal. All right, and the last couple of lip products I have are glosses from Diveroon. The first is called Grey Lily. And again, I think that this shade, actually, this is a Lip Mud. And this is another one where definitely need a liner to get it to work. So I added a bit more liner. I'm just gonna add a little bit in the center of my lip. All right, I'm brown skin. I know that this shade is not going to be for everyone, but here is what Grey Lily looks like applied. All right, and last but not least, I have the shade Black Dahlia. This is a black lip mud from Diveroon, so the same formula as the gray lip mud I just tried. Here's what it looks like swatched. Let's go ahead and apply it. All right, and here is what Black Dahlia looks like applied. I think this is my only black lip mud. Although Cloudicos, of course, has that shade Scorpion Fruit, which has a sort of similar look on the lips. I actually do have a couple of products from Glisten as well, I forgot. The first is this gray gloss called Veil. They actually have a milky gloss too, but to be honest, I don't feel like this one is super well suited for my skin tone, so I'm just going to put on the deeper shade, Veil. Here is what the shade Veil looks like applied. I would say it is a medium to almost full opacity gray gloss. And here's what it looks like swatched in the back of my hand. I think you can see what I mean when I say it is medium to full opacity. It's not fully opaque. And I do feel like you need to pair this one with a lip liner just to avoid any areas where it would look patchy or streaky. All right, and the last lip product I have is also from Glisten. This is their gray lip stain called Bayberry. And I actually did a whole video on the Glisten lip stains. I think that they are actually pretty good quality lip stains, especially for the price point. I haven't done a head-to-head comparison of these in Sushi Glow. I need to do that, but I haven't done it yet. I think with the deeper and more like colorful shades, you may have to be a little bit careful of patchiness. But I didn't find it with this shade. All right, and here's what it looks like right after applying it. I'm gonna let it sit for a few minutes and then I'm gonna wipe it off. All right, I've let it sit for a few minutes. Let's go ahead and wipe it off and see how it looks. This one actually looks deeper. I like the shade when you wipe away that top layer and get an idea of more like what the stain will look like. All right, and here's what the stain of Bayberry looks like. This is actually my favorite gray lip product that Glisten has done. I really like the tone of the shade all on its own on my skin tone. Now let's just add a little bit of the sheer black gloss from Terra Moons and Ellie Star over top. Okay, that is perfect, and I love the way that that goes with my eye look. All right, and that is all the lip products I had for this video. Definitely more than I intended. I would love to hear in the comments if you enjoy this kind of lip product, like grayscale lip products, or if you've been curious to dip your toes into trying them, because I do feel like there is something here for everyone, regardless of what your style and aesthetic is. As always, I really hope you found my video helpful. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.